You can create acid at will, from nothing. I would learn to use it if I were you. Want to go on our date? No thanks. Ah, no matter. You'll fall for me eventually. And he disappeared by walking through a black void. The void closed before Emerald could follow him. She decided to practice her powers for a while. Create, dispel, create, dispel. These words were repeated in Emerald's mind as the acid formed and dissipated. She could now control it quite efficiently, at will. And boundaries were blurred, and Twilight gave its answer, and a new name was given to her. She called herself Acid Witch. Acid Witch, Queen of Justice? To what end? To a selfish one? Wake up, this girl is wicked. She wants her vengeance, and her malice drives her, truly wicked. She drove her cycle into the city. She needed something to wear. She found a store with many dark items and purchased them for herself. She gave her eyes dark shadows and dressed entirely in black. Kenneth met her on the street. He was wearing pure white. My, how you fell, he said with a teasing smile. Your justice is over there. And he pointed at a nearby store where men with gas masks got out of a large van with tinted windows and proceeded to smash themselves into the store and rob it. What did they steal? Diamonds, sapphires, and golden chains. Money was inconsequential to them. Witch stood in their way. How kind of you to leave the money, she said. Then she melted them. Then she put a gas mask on to cover her face. Then she said, Poor things, and walked away. Kenneth only stared coldly, then disappeared in a dark void. The police arrived, but found nothing to investigate other than misplaced jewelry and broken windows. All biological evidence had been eaten away by a sticky acid substance they found eating its way through the cement. They looked at one another astonished, but also horrified. The chemical accident, and now this, said the chief. Pifflers won't survive all this. Though wrong they were, Emerald began marketing a new line of cosmetics, which sold phenomenally well. She found it in their research department. Was she ever traced to the murders? Of course not. She was her father's daughter, after all. Except that there were other robberies, and more men in gas masks, some of which were foiled, while others were not. But then the moon was full, and another odd occurrence happened. Werewolves. They swarmed the city and ate people. They also ate masked men. The city of Temperance was used to this by now. They had grown to fear full moons for this very reason. Acid Witch had quite a bit of trouble fighting them. They were trying to invade her mansion, you see. She melted some of them, but others made their way in. Then the moon was replaced by the sun, and one remaining wolf returned to normal. How did I get here? Get lost. And the disoriented boy that remained ran off. His name was Martin, but I don't know if I'll ever mention him again. Severe feather dusters program themselves to self-destruct and detonate on impact, and Twilight imagines. Yes, those fallen ones, angels from hell that come forth and cause chaos. Could you tell me your nightmares? Said Emerald to one of them. My taste is your taste, said the other. My mind is to destroy you, said Emerald. Tolerate me longer, princess of business. Then a knight in shining armor, who called himself the Blue Star, entered her mansion after sailing from the sky. He could have been a constellation. He brought with him a golden sphere and threw it on the floor to cause a quake. The pits of the abyss were opened in her home, and fiery things dragged that angel thing down. Emerald was afraid. The knight looked her in the eyes and said softly, Do not play with lives. I don't, she said in defiance. And who are you? The Blue Star. I was called here to warn you of your behavior. Being supernatural yourself, you should understand that this power was given to me. Whatever. I just want my revenge. Then you can just kill me or whatever. You will not be killed, said the Tiger Man, because you will do my vengeance. The Blue Star appeared troubled. Your master is the Tiger Man? Well, yes. You must leave him immediately. The Tiger Man tricks and torments. You are only a puppet to him now. So be it when I died a month ago. He was sad. He turned to leave. Prepare yourself at the end. And he flew off into the sky, into the constellations, into the sea of the air beyond our air. Pagan logarithms are triumphed over by hateful, enigmatic sinners, and thrust into sovereign silence. Cynthia was dead. Did I tell you about Cynthia? Yes, I believe I did. Read about her elsewhere. Cynthia was his mother. Cynthia was his only mother. His uncle is still alive. Powers are born when powers leave, but in the end it doesn't matter much, because powers are thrust into constant turmoil, when winter heats are obliterated and when obstacles collapse. Truthful justice is its desire to swear. They swear by vengeance, but they eat away at the materials that are given to them. Did Medusa turn this to stone? Military goblins invade the city, but there is no one to save them. Don't you want to be a hero? They would pay you, said Kenneth. Emerald remained silent and stared out her window at the chaos that was ensuing below. Dreams are programmed into the minds that make them, and innocence leaves, and matter tingles. Did you tingle with me? Tingle further and further, and triangles move themselves around the outer edge, and out of the ground a vortex of dark matter which smothered the air and killed people nearby, but the goblins were unharmed. Unarmed, they used their nails, they used their teeth. Blood filled the street. Gore was in the place. Intemperance. My, what an awful city. Don't destroy the wicked ones that come to your rescue, shouted a false priest. His donations were over there. Truly a bother. Dreams give way tonight. Where was Acid Witch? She was riding her motorcycle. Would she save people today, or would she kill people today? Burn in purgatory, witch. You will not harm my awful symphony. You're mad. You're dead. And the priest raised a ring above his head, and it zapped her, and she fell off her bike. Screw you, she said, spitting dirt out of her mouth and getting off the ground. She retrieved her hat, though it was being blown by that dark wind, and the vortex expanded, and the false priest laughed, and goblins jumped onto his shoulders. I am the master of dusk. Our business is with the people. Don't dispute our practices. And she punched him in the face. He grabbed her wrist with supernatural power and licked his lips, and the goblins leaped from his shoulders to pull at her hair and scratch her face. She melted them. Ouch! As her wrist was squeezed harder. Then she turned and kicked him with an acid-covered boot, and False Priest flew backwards, but sprouted bat wings and righted himself. What are you? Shouted Acid Witch. Evil, he said softly, then fired a dark beam at her from his finger. She pulled an object from her pocket. Yes, one of the dark objects she had bought. A mirror with a golden frame. A hand mirror. It reflected the laser. It disintegrated him. Yes, he was dead. No, he's not dead. You'll have to finish him later. Blue Star, close the vortex. And at Kenneth's request, Blue Star closed the vortex. Then Acid Witch melted away some of the remaining goblins. Kenneth drew a circle in the air, and stars shone around them, twinkling lights, and the remaining goblins were turned to stone. People used them to decorate their homes, but that's not important. Blue Star and Kenneth left. Acid Witch was confused. They worked together? Why am I out of the loop? No, False Priest was not dead. His spirit lived on and found another host, a soldier in his ranks, which guarded the company dusk. A black ritual was performed on the company's basement floor, during which a new host was merged with its inhabitant, and the air was stale and cold, and cloaked figures that stood around in a circle, awaiting the resurrection of their master. It was successful. They all laughed, very loud. They couldn't wait for things to die. Emerald went without Megan, who was dead, and Emerald was sad. She sat through her boring classes and talked with acquaintances at lunch. Rich acquaintances who really did not care about her, but only wanted her money and status. They hung out with her based on the small chance that her company would survive off its new line of beauty products, proven to remove aging drastically. Parasitic worms came to eat her acquaintances, and they squealed, and the Dean of Discipline pulled out holy water and poured it on them. And the worms were eaten away, and a white bird remained, which then flew away, and the Dean smiled and returned to his paperwork.